This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Ah, crap, I forgot to I totally blanked. I am so sorry. I'm kind of focusing on our sound equipment because we got, if you've seen our Instagram posts, we got new stuff and the arms are working, but the mics aren't working. So we're kind of finagled it with our old stuff again. Hopefully it sounds okay. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm kind of concerned and worried. That's all. If this doesn't work out, I'm just going to do a solo episode, but we got this. Let's go right into the review real fast before we get into the nitty gritty. So when we went to Virginia, we stopped at, Grow West in Maryland again, got some stuff, and I got Curio Wellness's, apple fritter pre-rolls. They're like 2.5 gram mini pre-rolls, so they're like dog walkers or shorties. I like them, and I want to hear your thoughts of it.
I really like them. They have a nice taste to them. They burn pretty even. I had to relight them once or twice, but not nearly as bad as the pre-rolls from just the Grow West brand. Those ones go out a lot more.
Yeah.
They're nice. I like them. They're a nice little, if you only have a little bit of time, if you smoke two of them, it's like you smoked a full joint.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice because if you smoke one, you can go one while you're on your way to something and then one on the way back.
Exactly.
It's really nice. So it's got 25.84 THCA, 1.14 caryophyllene, 0.66 limonene, and then 0.32 pinene, 0.29 humulene. So, it's not a bad batch. I really do like the high level of caryophyllene in there. It's not super peppery for something that high in caryophyllene. No, that's pinene. Never mind. But I'm still not getting that earthy, super earthy tone from it. That mango-y kind of stereotype of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly really like this. I gave it a 4.2 out of 5.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
And so definitely certified slaps.
Yeah.
But you were right about the ease with it. I just wish it was in a little bit of different packaging, personally.
Yeah.
Because you got to push from the back to slide through and then open, so that it's a little bit of hard. I think I got this while it was on sale for $20.
Yeah.
I want to say. Or no, I think it's 18 full price and I got it on sale. I can't remember. It's been a minute. Do we want to jump into Skittles of the week, or do we want to end on Skittles of the week?
No, let's start with Skittles.
You want to start with Skittles? Do you want to start with your Skittle?
I do want to start with my Skittles. So this morning, Raven and I got up and we had breakfast together, and we decided to try the new breakfast place just around the corner called Sparky's, and they're my Skittle this week because I loved watching this little place turn from an empty storefront when we first moved here into this really cute little breakfast spot. You can tell that a lot of love and care goes into all of their food. The staff is super nice. If you look them up on Google, you'll probably see my review that I just put up from this morning. They have really good coffee. They also serve cocktails, so I'm going to have to go back and check that out.
Brunch spot.
Yeah. It was so good. Really cheap, too. For the both of us, it was only $30-some?
$35, yeah.
$35, yeah. But it's so good. They're my Skittle because I know I'm going to be there a lot. And, you medicate and I can walk over there and come back. So, yes, Sparky's Breakfast, my Skittle of the week. I'm so glad we finally got to try them.
Yeah. Mine is actually a nonprofit organization. They're a 501c or something like that, whatever that nonprofit disclosure. So I recently got a VR headset for myself, an early Christmas present with my VA back pay. And what I ended up doing was I got VR chat. And while I was exploring VR chat, I found this trans-inclusive world called the Trans Academy.
Nice.
And you see the pictures I sent you in our little group chats.
Yeah.
And, they have places where you can do voice training. It's a way to kind of explore your gender. You can create avatars and share avatars of actually how you feel And it's really sweet. They have a Discord also with it, so it's really nice. So they are my Skittle of the week.
Heck yeah, I love that.
Okay, do we want to? My plan was for this episode, do the bad and then end on the good stuff we have for the notes. Okay. So the election happened. We were supposed to record and post last week, and we were going to record before the election, and then we saw the results, and we're like, let's wait till after.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump got reelected
Somehow,
and unfortunately for us, it's kind of a scare. I will say we are lucky. I did some diving into some of the politicians. There's not a whole lot about one policy one way or the other between like the treasurer and the attorney general that got voted in for Pennsylvania, but there are things for Dave McCormick, who got voted in for the Senate, and replacing Bob Casey. And it's interesting because he's pulling a Dr. Oz, like he's not really living here, but his permanent address is here.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but that's kind of common with politicians, unfortunately. But he actually surprised me. He's a Republican. He hasn't been very, from what I've seen, I haven't done super deep diving on Trump stuff with him. I haven't seen any. But he, as a pro-lifer, is supporting abortion care in the past, and was a advocate for Pennsylvania legalizing gay marriage before the country did. So I'm like, okay,
he's the one who's not too bad.
Yeah, okay. This is I have some policy differences, opinions, but like that's not a bad Republican. Of course, caveat, I haven't found anything with Trump in him yet, so we'll see. So hopefully PA is going to be good. We already know Ben Shapiro, while he's in office, is still going to keep everything above board, make sure everything's safe. I know our local area in the Pittsburgh area is going to do everything they can. Shout out to the Common Defense Group. They're a vet organization who try using their voice as vets to advocate for progressive change. They're going to make sure that a lot of people across the country are taken care of and safe as much as they can. But the big concern is Donald Trump. And a lot of the people he's already said he was going to put on the on his cabinet and tariffs. The campaigns, like the Republicans spent like roughly around 250 million, I want to say, middle ground on anti-trans advertisement.
Disgusting.
And there was always people like, well, what do you mean it's not against like human rights or anything? I'm like, you guys literally had ads spewing anti-trans stuff. Like total block of gender affirming care, like my fellow vets getting gender affirming care and healthcare, like myself, that's a big worry I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to say my benefits aren't going anywhere because we're not sure how like Project 2025 is going to work or not. That's a big concern.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, but I've already gave the analogy to some of my friends, my personal space, that if I do get swallowed by the dragon of hate, I'm going to be the like dragging my sword down its throat, being a pain in the side as much as I can. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things already ramping up. Racism been ramping up. There was a bunch of people who got random texts in, I want to say, Georgia, of just like super racist things to black people or people of color, but specifically black women. I think it was mostly black women, but I'm going to say some just black people in general. Companies are already getting rid of Christmas bonuses and everything, preparing for the tariffs, because people don't understand that the companies giving, like the people selling in China, don't pay the tariffs. It's the people who bought the stuff to bring it in That's how tariffs work.
Yeah.
That's why the Ford like big transit vans are so expensive, because there's so much of it built overseas and then brought in, and Ford has to pay it. So they jack up the price of those big cargo transit vans because of a freaking tariff from Lyndon B. Johnson's administration. Known as the chicken tariff. But I do want to. Do you want to add anything on the election side when we're talking about it? I know you have some thoughts.
I think definitely the queer folks, we need to keep our safe spaces. We need to get more involved with those spaces now too, especially more than ever, because we need to make sure that our queer siblings know that who it's okay to be around. Because right now there's definitely going to be a lot of uncertainty, and there's just a lot going on too, I think, like speculation wise with the election right now. And like, it's just, I know everybody's stressed. We just gotta be nice to each other, you know? Like our community has to stick together right now.
Yeah. And that's a big thing that I think is very nice, that we have we don't have all the elders, unfortunately, but we have a lot of elders who lived before, like during the 60s and 70s. And a lot of them online have been sharing, especially on TikTok, have been sharing like ways they survived through those years of like things they would do, places they would meet. And a lot of people don't realize, like the younger queers, like we saw a bit of it when we were growing up. Not as much, thankfully, but we saw a bit of it. And so we kind of have some of the skills, but not all of the skills. But like the Gen Z, like younger Gen Z folk and Gen Alpha, they grew up in a world where it wasn't as bad, and now it's just getting worse again.
Yeah,
because people forget a lot of those people who were very transphobic and homophobic are still alive.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to look to our elders and like see and follow their examples. And like, even if you can't find elders in your area, read how things were during the Stonewall era.
Yeah.
You know, read how people connected, groups like Star in New York, like see how things were back then and try using some of those old examples. I honestly feel like there's going to be a rise in gay bars, even just subtle gay bars.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a rise back up because of those spaces are going to be needed.
I definitely feel like Pittsburgh is a very good place where if you look around a storefront, you can tell, like you can usually spot a rainbow flag in places that are very supportive. And especially in Dormont, I've seen, if you just kind of scan, it's a very subtle little flag, but you can find it there. If it's a sticker on the window, if it's something that's behind the counter. So you definitely got to look for those little subtle, like, flagging basically of safe spaces.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I have no idea what it's going to do for cannabis, honestly. But that's kind of a little bit of a segue, if you don't mind me going into the other stuff that passed with the presidential election.
Yeah, go for it.
So before I go, I do want to say, while I understand everyone feeling like upset and angry and valid, your feelings are valid, don't fall into despair. We have to continue to grow and continue to like fight, because the president isn't the end all be all. There's always the House, there's the Senate, there's all the local areas, and we have to be advocates for our own community. It's going to be a little bit more work, I'll admit, but we have to be advocates for our community and not let anything just, we can't let the despair keep us from standing up for what's right.
And for continuing to be who we are.
Exactly. Like, I'm not like, I'm a trans veteran. I have like trans pride earrings on. I'm not getting rid of that. I have trans stuff all over me. I'm not going to do anything with it. If anyone's got a problem with it, fuck them.
When something like this happens, I always see like the posts online. And this is also why I usually write a National Coming Out Day post every year, even though I've been out for so long. It's that I don't wear my pride things for myself. I wear my pride stuff for like the kid across the street who's questioning, for the people who live down the block who I know are queer, so they know I'm somebody safe to be around, that they know someone else is out there that's going to have their back.
Okay, so going into, I got to open up my screenshots. Okay, so 4 states had cannabis legislation on their docket. Nebraska had Initiative 37, which would allow medical use, and Initiative 38, which would allow a establishment of a medical cannabis commission. They both passed.
Nice.
So congratulations, Nebraska. You have corn and weed now.
Yay.
I don't know much about Nebraska other than farm. But yeah, if someone can let us know once Nebraska gets their stuff, there is a bit of concern because, you know, it's a community initiative ballot measure.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like Ohio. There's going to be a lot of like, what ifs? How do we do this? How we set up? Lawmakers are going to try pushing it back like they did in Ohio. So hopefully once everything, we'll keep an eye on Nebraska. Excuse me. But if anyone in Nebraska can keep us updated, has an ear on the ground for us, we greatly appreciate that. So the other people who had North and South Dakota both had adult use measures. North Dakota had Measure 5 and South Dakota had Measure 29. They both did not pass, which we're not really surprised because the area. I would hope maybe down the road it would get a little better. I didn't really know about those measures, to be honest, because the big one I'm about to talk about kind of took our attention and a lot of people's attention. Florida's.
Yeah.
Amendment 3 did not pass, but it had a majority yes. So it's like so Florida's legislation with amendments is very much like the federal Congress. If you want to overturn a president's veto, you need a supermajority, which is 2/3 of the House or Congress, whichever. I'm too high to do civil social studies right now. But civics, it was civics class. That's what I was trying to think of. But Florida is very similar, except instead of being like 66.666666 repeating, they just say 60. You need a 60% majority. They had a 52% majority.
Oh, wow.
So it was very close, but because of that, Florida's adult use isn't pushed. And some other states do have amendment-based cannabis legislation, like I think it's Missouri does, which I'm not a huge fan of that because of like how hard it is to fix things down the road.
Yeah.
But if it's like a baseline and then you have like little different laws with it, okay, I guess, because I think that's what they do. But Florida's was very much for the cannabis industry, the giants of the cannabis industry, Sunnyside or Cresco, True Leaf, and Verano.
Yeah.
The big three who were pretty much controlling everything in Florida were all for Amendment 3.
AYR is down there too.
Are they?
Yep.
Okay.
I know they have a lot of stores down there.
I did not know that.
3 as well.
Okay, so 4.
4. Basically all the big names.
Yeah.
You know.
Here in PA, yeah, some of the big names are also down there. Shocker. And so the big thing is Kim Rivers has actually gone around, the True Leaf CEO who's blocked us.
Yeah.
Has gone around and actually is now saying home grow for Florida because they lost the measure because she's trying to do anything she can. The issue I had, and I believe we talked about this on the podcast before, the issue I had with Amendment 3 was that the protections, so you can't sue medical dispensaries in Florida. And I think that's in a lot of states, to be honest, because the way that things are written, they have criminal and civil liability protections. Basically, the state won't come after you for selling and growing marijuana, but you can't be sued. And a lot of people by civilians, a lot of people take that as, oh, if they ingest like 100 milligram, say here in PA, 100 milligram troche, like the troche itself is 100 milligrams.
Yeah. And
they have a bad experience. They can't just go out and sue the medical dispensary or the grower.
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem is it's a blanket civil liability protection. So
if somebody smokes moldy weed
and gets sick and dies or gets just really sick, they can't sue. But state of Florida with their medical cannabis commission, has a thing where you could put in complaints and they will do fees, and then the part of the fees they will assess is also paying for like medical bills or the funeral services or whatever. The problem is there was no commission set up plan for Amendment 3 with Florida. So they were just going to let them run wild.
Jeez.
Yeah, because it's basically, we're going to give all the medical protections to adult use, but none of the fail-safes. And everyone's like, well, it's a single ballot issue. I'm like, yes, the single ballot is an adult use. Mm-hmm. Everything that should be adding, like giving the medical cannabis commission, just making that a cannabis commission, was never put into the paperwork. I sat there for hours reading the legalese and the breakdown and everything, and there was no mention of any oversight in Amendment 3. And that was a huge issue I had with it.
Ruh-roh.
So that was a huge issue I had with it, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. And everyone was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You live in Pennsylvania. You live in a blue state. We're a red state. I'm like...
Did you see the election?
Yeah, this is a swing state.
We have no dominant political party.
No, we don't. It's per issue, per president, per everything. We are a huge swing state. That's the reason why we're called a swing state. Our state swings more than your freaking old people in your state, Florida. Calm the fuck down, all right? So I do have other things update with the election. So states voted on abortion rights. Mm-hmm. Amendment 4 was an abortion right, like a state constitutional protection for abortion. No big surprise, Florida said no on that as well. South Dakota and Nebraska also voted no. But New York, Maryland, Montana, Colorado, Missouri, Nevada, and Arizona all voted yes on state constitutional abortion protections.
Can we put this list in the show notes?
Yes.
This is a very important list.
Yes.
For science.
Those
of you listening in Pennsylvania, I know it's Pennsylvania, but Maryland is very close.
Yes. It is very close.
And New York, our friends up there.
But there was another big one. California also had their own Amendment 3.
Yeah.
So Amendment 3, which was originally Proposition 8 in California for this year, is a reworking of fixing what happened with Proposition 3. So 2008, California passed Proposition 3, which banned same-sex marriage, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was this was his governorship, was very for it at the time. And so what ended up happening was it passed, and California in 2008 made same-sex marriages illegal. You know, with some of the biggest gay districts and towns in the country. But, I mean, same thing's happening with Florida right now. I mean, you got Miami and Orlando, very big queer hotspots, but the state itself
is very not queer-friendly.
Yeah, like Austin, Texas. Queer-friendly city. Texas is not a queer-friendly state.
Yeah.
So Amendment 3 in California passes 62% to 37.4% in favor. So 62 is yes. So what ends up happening is the California state constitution is repealing the ban on same-sex marriage and declaring marriage a fundamental right in the state. I'm not sure how they're doing with disability and stuff, because I know that's wonky for a lot of states, PA included. Mm-hmm. But those are a lot of the state measures that, or the measures of things that kind of came about. And are you messing with your cat?
I am.
That kind of came about in the election. We are going up on our break window. Is there anything you want to add about anything I brought up with the election at all?
That's just nuts. Just everything is going to be crazy for a while, but
okay. We do have a little bit of time. I am going to bring up one thing. I am sending you a link to an Instagram reel from our friends at Gay Water. Do you have your phone on you?
Mm-hmm.
So as a little way to, like a little palate cleanser for the ears and the eye, r/eye bleach.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about gay Halloween because we missed the episode after we got back from our Halloween trip. So we're going to be talking about gay Halloween.
Gay Halloween, if you will.
Do you have the article? Do you have the post pulled up?
Yes.
All right. So first slide, it says, I hate gay Halloween.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to move on to the second slide. And these are all pictures and memes of gay Halloween things. Like, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean? It's always two dumb bitches. And it's just two guys wearing a shirt that says exactly. Next slide is, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean? You're chaperone and a passenger seat. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean? You're the tennis ball POV from Challengers. I hate gay Halloween parties. What do you mean? Your sympathy is a knife. And it's a guy with like a fake knife going through his head, and it says brat with blood splatter on the front, and on the back says is a knife. I love gay Halloween. Like, of course, you know what I mean. I'm the girl who interrupted the apple dance. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean? You're the princess and the pauper. And it's a girl dressed up as a princess with a cardboard, looks out like poppers. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Art Donaldson's signature sir from the 2024 film Challengers? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Cher Lloyd's 2010 X Factor audition? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Rachel's mom from when she heard Jesus was seen in Ohio? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're an Olympic pole vaulter that bumped a pole with his bulge?
I remember hearing about that.
I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're the glitter girl from the Stay With Me Vine? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're MJ from that scene in season 2 of The Traitors when she awkwardly backs out of the room wearing a ridiculous outfit after being made asked to leave? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're the female Oompa Loompa from the Glasgow Willy Wonka's chocolate experience? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Nene Leakes and her season 6 episode 4 nemesis, the white refrigerator? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're chaperone in the crowd at the Governor Ball? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Charlie XCX signing records on the vinyl rest? I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're blue hair and pronouns?
Yes.
And it's literally just someone with blue hair and a shirt that has pronouns written all over it. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Shaggy when he drank the potion and magically transitioned in Scooby-Doo to Monsters Unleashed?
I'm not going to lie, as a kid, that did things to me.
I love straight Halloween. What do you mean you're a witch or perhaps a nurse? And this was shared by Drink Gay Water on Instagram.
Oh, I love it.
Which I still am trying to get them to send us some gay water so we can review a queer product on the show.
Gay water. It turns the freaking frogs gay. Do you
understand that? Frogs, freaking frogs.
Yeah, crap.
All right, we're going to go on our break, and then we'll be back after a moment.
Woo.
Hey, everybody, it's Raven from Smoking Out the Closet. Real fast, I just wanted to talk about the fact that our podcast now officially has a merch store. So we're going through Big Cartel for print on demand, and these products will change from time to time. But right now, we have an emotional support products between a crossbody bag, a t-shirt, beanie, and a patch, and we have our podcast mug available in 2 different sizes as well. So if you're interested in supporting our show or just want some really cool swag, head over to smokingouttthecloset.bigcartel.com and grab some stuff from us. And we are back. I believe you have the next topic.
I do. I was so excited when I found this article because I have been saying this for years. It's from Marijuana Moment. It says this was from November 7th. Outdated marijuana packaging rules make it impossible for cannabis industry to be environmentally sustainable, study says. And so says Azzy for the last how many years I've been in the industry?
I mean,
the last 3 years I've been in the industry and 4 years I've been in the program.
Yeah, we've been kind of shouting this as long as we've also been on this podcast.
Honestly.
Like, there's no way to recycle anything.
No, the Mylar bags, yeah, they keep shit fresh, but they're not recyclable.
Mm-hmm.
A newly published study of product packaging from the commercial marijuana industry concludes the market shift towards vape pens actually is what they're targeting in recent years, I say as I waggle my vape pen that's in my hand currently. It's a, quote, seismic event for cannabis waste with packaging from California's legal market now nearly on par with that of household pharmaceuticals in the state.
Fun.
The thing about household pharmaceuticals, though, is those pharmacy bottles generally are recyclable.
Yeah, but household pharmaceutical products, I thought that was like Tylenol. Like you just over the counter, not over the counter, just the shelf items like Tylenol,
oh, yeah, with
Adlib.
Like the blister packs.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah, those.
Mm-hmm. It says, well, there's a, quote, robust infrastructure in place for reverse distribution of pharmaceuticals. The study notes that no such infrastructure exists for cannabis waste on a large scale. The research was from Oxford University. The researcher Mitchell Colbert published this week in Standards Organization at ATSM. International's Journal of Testing and Evaluation also highlights how the state cannabis regulations contribute to excessive cannabis waste that doesn't exist for other industries. It's like every year there was a novel, he said there was a novel packaging waste, a novel attempt to estimate it. It's just hard to track.
Yeah, it's hard to track, and a lot of it is just data reading from my understanding. So what it sounds like is someone overseas is just looking at the numbers they took, but that number could be way lower or way higher. We don't know. Really.
It says, instead, the study looked at a sample of cannabis packaging of 256 California cannabis products from 138 manufacturers, combining those findings with sales and data on the number of products and units sold. Notably, the paper examined only consumer packaging waste, not all the waste associated with the production of the product. In 2022, the review found California had a consumer cannabis packaging waste stream almost as large as 16,805 U.S. tons of HHW pharmaceutical products in California in 2021.
Damn.
Despite rules around cannabis waste being ambiguous, many businesses don't engage in the collection of waste, recycling, or other sustainable practices in California. At least they have those available.
Yeah.
We don't even have that available for the cannabis industry in Pennsylvania, unless you take your labeling and shit off and you throw it in your recycling like I do. And not a lot of people are probably inclined to do that.
And also, PA is not that great at recycling.
They really aren't. It's a lot of hope cycling here.
Yeah, because I grew up like where I lived before I joined the Navy.
Yeah.
There was a waste treatment plant that had a recycling aspect to it, and the recycling aspect was just, oh, hey, throw it in the landfill. That was their method. So yeah, PA doesn't really recycle as much as we should. Like when we went down to Virginia, you were flabbergasted.
I was astounded. I could recycle everything everywhere I went. And I was so glad I was talking to whenever they had that Dormont, I almost said that Dormont like community survey, and I was like, we need a public recycling bin, and they did it. But they were everywhere in Virginia.
Yeah. Where
you had a trash can, you probably had a recycling bin beside it, if not within like 5 feet.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's one of the small good things from that state.
Yeah. It continued, the regulations must be changed by state regulators to allow cannabis licenses to have better waste management options, which will result in less environmental contamination and thus cleaner cannabis. It still goes to say a meaningful shift in packaging waste has taken place since COVID. And the spate of vaping-related lung injuries beginning in 2019, most have attributed to use of a single cutting agent found predominantly in unregulated vape cartridges, the study says. While smoking was once the leading form of consumption, sales from 2018 to 22 show less than 50% of sales were for flower in California, with similar findings in many other states. The consumers are increasingly turning to vapes and electronic cannabis delivery systems, or EDCS. as well as edibles, tinctures, and topicals.
I mean, it makes sense though, because okay, but like think about it this way. I'm thinking of like the people who come in and buy vapes only. They're soccer moms. They're people who want to inhale, but they're worried about like paper and all the other thing like cigarettes. There are people who they're like, yeah, it's a little more
inconspicuous.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's easier to hide. But also you got to think when you're renting, right? You can't, even if you are like you're a medical patient and you're allowed to use your products inside your house or apartment, people are worried about the smell and everything sticking to the walls, even though it really doesn't. The smell lingers a little bit, but that's easy to get rid of with some air freshener.
And also, not a lot of people have like a basement/brick area, because if you smoke in rooms with those, it doesn't hold smoke scent. A lot of people have drywall, and the drywall or the paper on it, or sometimes the paint.
But they also live in apartment complexes too,
yeah.
and
or you have your neighbors are close up your ass.
Yeah,
now,
so
our row house, everybody.
yeah. A lot of people on our street smoke.
Yeah, because we can walk to the dispensary.
But there's like, if you're in an apartment complex, it's a lot easier to like be at home and using your product without like anyone really noticing.
I know we used to get kind of anxious when we go on our balcony, and I'm like, okay, somebody smells it in the parking lot. They know the direction it's coming from. There are 10 balconies on this wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who knows? It also was like, well, this gets a whole new diverse bunch of waste, because pardon me, looking at this cart right now, you got glass in there, you got metal. This has a ceramic tip on it. There's cotton in the inside, and there's also copper wire in this battery. All of this is very hard to recycle. The lithium in here, you might be able to recycle. I hopefully did not break that. Or if that happens, then you have the oil also in there that you have to deal with the broken glass and everything. But yeah, even just this cart, it's like there's no way really to, I don't feel like, make one of these that you can recycle.
We have to talk to the Honeybee Collective, see what they do, because they do have, I don't know if they do vapes. I know they have a lot of like pre-rolls and canisters for pre-rolls and stuff. They're based in Colorado, and they're one of those small organizations that like, hey, if you bring your stuff back, we'll recycle it and give you like, we'll make sure that the dispensaries know to give you a percentage off.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how that works, if they would do vapes, if they don't do vapes. But definitely something to talk to them about, see what like could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with tinctures and childproof packaging and stuff like that, some of those childproof packages are only one use. Because if you try to reuse it, it's not childproof anymore. The tinctures, however, I feel like if you were able to bring the bottle back in, and they could clean it and refill it with a tincture, but then that's also a different process of how you have to ship your tinctures to the dispensary if you are able to refill those, and you have a problem with them bringing it back to the store empty with some product trace still in it. Paraphernalia laws, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, there's also the fact of like sanitation as well.
Is also a concern.
Because like, I know back in the day, Coke used to do that, but they would have like certain like sanitation things they would do for like the bottles, or like the old Milkman bottles and everything.
Yes.
But like, this is medicine, so it's got even a higher grade of like a magnifying glass looking at stuff. So like the potential for like cross contamination, it does get a little bit higher with that.
Yeah.
Admittedly, what you could do is you could just bring it back to a facility, take out the plastic, the glass, and then just shatter the glass, melt down the plastic again, and just reuse it.
Yeah.
That's easy to do, but then you also have to think of the energy usage for that, unfortunately.
And the air pollution from the factory that does the recycling.
Yeah.
And what's actually going to be better for the environment in the long run, and what's going to be cheaper is probably going to outweigh what is actually going to be better for the environment, because we're talking mostly about MSOs here.
Yep. So it's a cost thing.
Also, apparently California has a lot of, quote, outdated cannabis regulations that were largely written for a time when waste was primarily flower, pre-rolls, and edibles. Frequently do not mention electronic cannabis delivery devices and their battery waste, because California's market was largely flower started.
Well, because you get a lot of like tourists coming in now, and like a lot of the vapes are also getting like higher usage because you have a lot of tourists, the cannabis tourism nowadays. So that's also pushing California's vape sales because you can't use it all before you leave California.
Yeah. It just goes on to talk about how unless they allow, like we were just talking about, the manufacturers to take back their packaging, do recycling programs, it's not going to get fixed.
Yeah.
That is really the way to do it, because outside recycling is going to have a lot of problems with a lot of these vape cartridges and shit like that.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of places, hell, even Pittsburgh has problems sometimes with recycling ion batteries. I know, like, Huntington area, they had, like, drop-offs, maybe once, twice a year, drop off your bulk appliances, your batteries, your oil, your paint, your whatever shit. Where does that go? Probably in a big fucking truck somewhere into the ground. I don't know what. Hopefully they do something respectable with it. But
those giant, some of the pieces of that, like the paint and the oil. Remember when we go to the weight drive past when we're going to my parents, and that big like plume that's just burning shit.
Yeah, is that what that is?
I think that's what that is. I don't know. I think because oil and paint, whoosh.
Whoosh. Yeah, that's. Ugh.
Yeah.
Just because you can burn it doesn't mean you should burn it.
Yeah. Fun on a bun.
Yeah, but anyway, so they're trying to change their legislature and get shit fixed over there. And hopefully, if unions find out, we can maybe fix, implement it in a lot of our other medical states at least. And then when recreational comes around.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great for here. Especially because we're just getting the air a bit better, like a lot better than what it used to be here in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to bring up on that topic?
No, that was it.
Okay. Can I talk about some gay veteran stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say names or anything or location or what. But I am in a LGBTQIA plus veteran discussion group right now through our I should say but through the local VA system that I go through. Which fucking hooyah. Also, I would like to point out fucking hooyah is in my notes.
It's fucking hooyah. Yeah.
But we get some documentation about like LGBT stuff and the VA and everything, and how things are going, what you could do, what resources are available. On the last group thing that we had, when we were actually in Virginia, we talked about the timeline with the VA and LGBT, how like the VA evolved, because the VA, whatever the military says, that's totally separate from the VA. So if you can't be trans, like say during the Trump administration, there was a trans ban with the military. If you're in the VA, that trans ban doesn't mean anything. That's not the military. That is a government funded entity that is not attached to the military. It just takes care of those who were in the military. Yeah. But it's a totally different ballgame, right? So 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is repealed. 2012, VA LGBT health program is established, developing best practices and a national policy for LGBTQIA plus veterans. So it's a, hey, the government is like, hey, the VA, we're looking at this. We're starting to like build a group, but that's going to take some time to do stuff, right? VA Health Administration, or VHA directive providing health care for transgender and intersex veterans is published. So there's paperwork and everything getting formed.
Yeah.
2016 LGBTQ plus Veteran Care Coordinator, or VCC program is established, which means every VA system, like we have VA Pittsburgh here, there's VA Altoona, there's VA Hampton Roads in Virginia, or the VA Hampton VA. Each one of those locations has a veteran care coordinator for the LGBT vets in every one. We have one here in the Pittsburgh area, and that covers both main Pittsburgh campuses and Monroeville.
Nice.
But it's only one person, unfortunately, for our area. Some people have a team. Some, unfortunately, have just one. The this is really funny when we found out because we drove past the Hampton VA Health Center. Mm-hmm. Pride in All Who Serve is launched in Hampton, Virginia.
Nice.
So we drove right past that. VHA directive provision of healthcare for veterans who identify as lesbian, gay, and bisexual is published. Pride in All Who Serve, that's in 2017. 2020, Pride in All Who Served national team form, so for like everybody. 2021, transgender military banned in all, or 2021, sorry. The ban on transgender military personnel are lifted. The restrictions are lifted. 2021 as well, Secretary McDonough raises pride flag over the VA headquarters for the first time. 2021 as well. A lot happened in 2021.
Yeah.
Self-identified gender identity, or SIGI field, is implemented at VHA. So there's a way for when I was setting up my paperwork and everything with the VA, once with service connected, there's a thing that says how I identify, what are my pronouns.
Oh, that's awesome.
Still in 21, VA Secretary announces plan to remove exclusion of gender-affirming surgery from VA medical benefits package. That still has not been implemented yet, unfortunately. It is still in the works. This is one of those things that it takes time to do. Yeah. And government funding is a big hamper on that. And another thing that I am worried about with this election of what they're going to do for that stuff with the transgender vets and LGBT vets with the Trump administration. Fucking VA Secretary announces plans to ensure VA is safe, welcoming, and equitable environment for all. Now we're finally in 22. Sexual orientation clinic reminder launched at VHA. This is one thing that I do hate with it is the warning of, this is where the warning, I think I've talked to you about it before, when you look up stuff for like gay men, it has health issues potential. Mm-hmm. And one of it is HIV and AIDS. HIV and AIDS is a health issue for fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. I am so sick of that being quote unquote a gay disease.
It's anybody who fucks.
Yeah. Still in 22, VA.gov veteran self-entry option for gender identity and chosen name is implemented.
Nice.
So you can do it on the website, which is how I did it. 23, Pride in All Who Serve reaches its 65th VA site. It's not in everyone still, but it's slowly getting there. And 24, you tell 3 friends about Pride in All Who Serve, which is a program of trying to spread awareness through vets themselves. So, as a veteran of the United States, and I'm doing this on a bigger scale, any vets who are listening to are also LGBT, make sure that your local VA care system, like hospital system or like area, does stuff for LGBT. It's not in everyone, but I have a handy little overview of Pride in All Who Serves from the VA, and I would like to use the rest of the episode to discuss this, if that is okay. Do you have another topic before I go into this?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I know, this is our podcast and we do everything together. I want your hand. Thank you. Okay, so there is going to be some audio stuff, and we're going to watch it together. I'm not sure if it's going to get picked up, but hopefully it'll get picked up on the audio. So Pride in All Who Serve is a health promotion group that was designated and refined using human-centered design principles at the Hampton VA Medical Center in 2016. Each 1-hour session of the 10-week manualized closed group provides an opportunity to connect with other LGBTQIA+ veterans to build a peer support system while improving LGBTQIA+ patient health literacy. This is the thing I am in right now with the VA. Connection to social support is a protective factor against suicide, stigma-related stress, and other health outcomes for the community. The group facilitates manuals, provides a comprehensive approach to implementation of service, staff training, and guidance on how to create a welcoming environment. Veteran reactions to this service include, "I can't believe this group is at the VA. My life has gotten better by coming," which is something I can say. "I love this group and I feel better talking to my providers." There's currently 67 successful adoptions of this in different locations, 11 in progress, and 13 unsuccessful, unfortunately. We are going to take a look at a YouTube video real fast from the VA, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone and play it for us. I'm going to play it as loud as I can. I've already seen it, so I want you to watch it. I'm hoping it gets picked up on the mic.
Okay.
I was a 31 Bravo in the United States Army Military Police. Today, I am proudly the National Security Chairman for the American Legion across the entire country. I have the awesome honor to help represent the 2 million members of the American Legion. I came out as gay my senior year of high school. And what was really interesting for me when I joined the Army, I had to go back in the closet. Now, I fully knew that being openly gay was against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. At that moment in my life, my decision was to serve my country, to put myself and my preferences second.
We have to create welcoming environments, provide affirming care, things that some of them did not get while in the military or were afraid of presenting a certain way in fear of consequences. Our LGBT veterans have a unique need, and it's very important to know. The VHA is different. It's different now, and it's acknowledging and showing our veterans, we see you.
Pride in All Who Served is a 10-week health promotion group, so it functions as an educational group that walks veterans through the process of what was it like to serve in the military, and we don't pull any punches in terms of understanding that was likely for a majority of individuals an unaffirming and at times negative experience and traumatic experience for a lot of veterans. And we transition from that into topics like affirmative healthcare, healthy relationships. We talk about LGBTQ families and everything in between.
The Department of Veterans Affairs has a very simple and clean mission. They care for every veteran who needs the care, making every single veteran feel welcome within the walls of the VA. The Pride in All Who Serve program at VA continues and sort of dives deeper into that mission by making any veteran who's LGBTQIA not only feel welcome, but feel seen and feel represented and feel like they belong at VA.
Every VA facility has an LGBTQ plus veteran care coordinator. And while not all are group facilitators, they all have access to this information and can get a veteran connected to the nearest group, wherever that might be.
You know, we have a ways to go, but there is movement.
I love thinking about where we've come from, where we are, and hopefully where we can go, right? 20 years ago, VA had never pushed out any type of communication with the letters LGBT in the middle. And today, there's quite a bit. So will we have a VA healthcare system that is completely welcome and makes every single veteran feel welcome? Absolutely we will.
Aw.
Okay, so your thoughts first. I want your thoughts.
I felt myself starting to tear up a little bit, I'm not going to lie. It's just, especially thinking about, because I was aware of a time where, we were in the war and people were, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was around when I was in high school. And now seeing that the VA is taking care of those people who weren't quite accepted in the service. And because I know unfortunately, the United States is not the best at taking care of their veterans when they come out. And now it looks like they're trying to get better.
They are.
It's heartwarming.
And they even said it's not perfect, but there's movement. And it's getting better. Like,
that's what's important.
Big thing that the Pittsburgh area one has been great. I have met some people are like, oh, I didn't like this hospital, I don't like this one, between the two hospitals. But for me, I have no issues so far. This might be just because I'm newer to the VA and getting health and everything with them. But when I first got set up with the registration stuff, this has been the only issue I've had, except that the Aspinwall hospital doesn't have all the same food as the Oakdale location. The Oakdale's canteen is bigger and has more food options. Well, a little salty at that. What do you mean I can't get sushi and pizza at Aspinwall? What do you mean? But the when I was getting registered, they were like, okay, who do you want as your emergency contact? I put you down. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, who are they? I said, they are my spouse. And the person was like, well, are they your husband or your wife? I only have husband or wife on here. And I don't know if they were lying. According to the care coordinator that we have here, there should be a system that should have civil union, partner, spouse. And she was like, if they generally don't have that, I need to make sure that that program is updated for them. So it is there apparently.
Good.
But yeah, you are now on my, thanks to, I'm not going to give names, but thanks to the coordinator, you are now on my emergency contact as Asmodeus Greer spouse.
Aww.
So yeah.
Love that.
So the overview of it that they were talking in the video was how queer vets, I'm going to say queer vets because it's faster.
Yeah.
Are at an increased risk for suicide and other health complications and inadequacies due to the part of discrimination and barrier to access the care. There's a lot of older vets who don't know that we could get this care. And that's a big thing I wanted to talk about as I'm going through this program. And when I saw share with 3 friends, I don't have a whole lot of friends that are simultaneously queer and a veteran.
Yeah.
So I thought this would be a good way to spread it. We have people who listen across the country and some overseas. If you know an American veteran, because they have, apparently, I think they're starting to spread this to like some of the overseas locations, like in Germany. There's VA hospitals in a lot of overseas bases that we have. If you are aware of anyone who's at that intersectionality, or if you're like an LGBTQIA plus veteran yourself, this is a program. There is a map where I will share this whole site that I pulled the video from. And it also has a tracker of which areas have which places. Green's where it's successful. And gray with an X is it didn't succeed in getting implemented. And yellow with white stripes is it's in the progress. Some unsuccessful are mostly just due to certain reasons. And here's one I'll say. Little Rock, Arkansas, centralized decision-making that hinders ability to complete tasks, parentheses, i.e. bureaucracy. Some understandable, like Wilmington, Delaware, unable to attend necessary staff. Totally understandable.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have people that are qualified, how are you going to be able to do that? And that's a lot of them, to be honest. It's unnecessary staff left the agency, staff changes. The Von Zant one in Altoona that my parents go sometimes, they had it and then lost it because they weren't able to fill in the position anymore. Because of staff changes. There is a couple more videos on this. I want you to watch off screen or off the podcast if you want.
Okay.
But I will put all of this in the show notes for everyone to watch. There are like a series of 4 YouTube videos and then like a recording of a Zoom where you're actually seeing a meeting from within the VA itself.
Nice.
On that note, I am also out of topics. Is there anything you want to add or say before we end the show?
No.
Okay. I do want to say a quick housekeeping thing. We do have the new arms. We do have new mics, but we're not using the new mics because they aren't working for some reason. So if anything sounds weird, we do have like a cover and a filter. So I'm trying to make sure everything sounds good. Audio quality is going to be a little janky for a bit until I can get everything sorted. But hopefully this is a move, knock on wood, into a better direction for us sound quality wise. And our show, because guess what? We're investing in our show more. I also got Cricut stuff. So I'm going to make shirts now for us and actually make them. You can still buy from our merch page with Big Cartel. And if you missed the middle ad that's in between the first and second half, it's smokingoutthecloset.bigcartel.com, where you can get t-shirts, mugs, crossbody bag, patches with emotional support stoner stuff. I've been very heavy on that design lately. But
every time I wear my shirt, everybody loves it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be able to start making stuff here at home. We're going to get stuff for when we go to like cannabis festivals or LGBT events, and hopefully down the road I can get to where we can actually travel with the show. But yeah, we're going to start making merch here at home. So I could do a lot more customizable stuff at home now with the Cricut. So there's that. On that note, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
And we'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.